Good morning, good morning, good morning. First of all, let me start off this video by saying check out okjersey.com up there. Scan the QR code for £15 football shirts, 10% off using code Nicky10. It's a place where you can get all your England stuff for the upcoming World Cup. And yeah, you can get West Ham shirts there as well. Yeah. I don't know where to start here. I've been a beacon of confidence over the last couple of weeks. I've been a beacon of hope. I've seen enough in the performances to say that we've got enough. I watched Leeds draw 0-0 on Friday night. We knew the Nottingham Forest game was coming up, and I said on Friday Night Pint, that there's an opportunity here. What I didn't bank on was the toothless performance that we saw. Now, I'm going to put this one down to the loss of Jean-Claude Todibo in the warm-up. They would have worked all week on Jean-Claude Todibo, but I would say this. What the manager done after that, I think was unforgivable, really. He put Wan-Bissaka, I don't know whether anyone noticed this, but I noticed it being at the game. Wan-Bissaka played at centre-back where Jean-Claude was. Listen, I know people are going to call me crazy. We had Mayers on the bench. We had Kilman on the bench. To put Wan-Bissaka, who, let's be honest, goes wandering at the best of times, at centre-back was absolutely crazy. And the way he's been playing, he's been inverting the right back into a centre midfielder. And where Aaron was all over the shop, he then put Bowen, probably our biggest goal threat, although he hasn't played well this season, the biggest goal threat on the day at the right wing back. That's wrong, I'm afraid. And I'm sure they'll be analysing it. I saw a training video in the I'll get to the comments in a second. I saw a training video in a week, and they was sort of breaking down training and breaking down all of that sort of thing. And that wasn't good enough, I'm afraid. I think there was a lot of lackluster performances. Would say one man who I thought was absolutely a rock yesterday. I thought Manson had a poor game. And I think the two goals he let in, I think Areola saves them. But Dinos Mavropanos, again, like a one-man army, the guy. It wasn't down to him, any of these mistakes. But it's worrying the level of performance I saw there. Popsy coming in wasn't good enough. Midfield, Fernandez wasn't good enough. I don't think there was any player apart from Dinos that was good enough on the day. And yes, listen, we're going to win and lose games. And listen, I didn't expect to go into that. Aston Villa they're up there for a reason. They're a good side, and on the day they tore us to pieces, and they would have been motivated by what they'd saw Everton do to Chelsea. Because there's gaps here now. There's gaps to exploit, and they win these games. And they were fantastic on the day. And I'm going to take nothing away from Aston Villa. I thought that was phenomenal. And the level of squad depth that you see there is it's chalk and cheese. It's really is chalk and cheese. Hold on, mate. Let me get round to it. But their level of performance wasn't good enough. You want to see fight, and I don't think it was down to the team. I think it was down to the selection. Now, are we going to go? We're going to know what's happened to Jean-Claude. Yeah, he was. Gary Wazy says, "How I seen it, Nicky? Aaron was man marking Rodgers in the first half. It was all over the gaff." Aaron's. That's not his. That is not his game. And it was just bad selection. Bad setup. And again, once again, we're reverting back to what has not been working rather than what has been working. But I would say this. I watched the other game over on the other channel. I watched the highlights. I was watching it as much as I could during the game. And Tottenham are bad. Forest battered them. They absolutely battered them. Listen, there was a little bit of fight from Tottenham, but as soon as a little bit of pressure get put on them, there is opportunities here. There is still opportunities. We go into an FA Cup quarter final. Hopefully everyone's fit because the semi-final there would lift the place up again. But we cannot and will not get out of this if we start performing the way we did yesterday, I'm afraid. We won't. Although, I would say this, and somebody said, you've got to have some perspective. Yes, they've got McGinn back. They've got Tillemans back. But, it's by the by, we cannot afford to perform like that. Whether, and listen, you've been listening to me on Friday Night Pint and you've been listening to what I've been saying. And I said there's going to be games that we win. There's going to be games that we lose. There's going to be times we pick up points. And there's going to be times, but we cannot afford to perform like that. There is no more time left to be getting it right again. I thought we'd got it down to a T, to be quite honest with you. So, yes, we can't perform like that. Do I think we will carry on performing like that? No, I don't. I've still got hope. I'm still certain we're going to get out of it, but we cannot afford to play like that again. So there we go. That's my take from it. Listen, it wasn't positive yesterday. It's been positive for a long, long time since January. It's been positive. It's been fantastic, but we cannot perform like that in any more games. And we've got Arsenal coming up, and we've got Brentford coming up, and we've got Everton coming up, who are flying high at the moment with Moisey there. I'm sure he'll be, he won't mind sticking a knife in after what happened to him at West Ham. So we've got about 3 or 4 games now. And listen, I think 3 more wins and it'll be enough. I really do, because I see what's happening over at Tottenham. And we'll see what's happening at Forest and Leeds, to be honest. Leeds hasn't won for a long time. But we need to start performing. Not it's nothing about the result yesterday. I thought the result was a respectable result in terms of the scoreline, because it could have been a fucking lot worse. What Dino's done is he stopped us from coming out there from 4, 5, 6 down. If I'm honest, we have to start getting this right. Giving ourselves the best opportunity we can. And what he did yesterday is he didn't give us the best opportunity we could. And that's what I would say, and it's nothing against the team. And I've been very positive. And listen, you have to believe, you have to believe that we can get out of it. Otherwise, what's the point? But we cannot turn up like that again. Everyone needs to start stepping up now. And I'm sure that they'll get into training this morning. And I'm sure they'll start talking about it. And I'm sure, we'll know what sort of terms of Jean-Claude Todibo. Listen, Aaron went in at centre-back. And people are going to call me crazy. They should just play Gilman. At least he's a centre-back, and played him right wing-back. We need that attacking threat. We need it. But we need to stop. We need to win 3 or 4 games. And that's it. That's just the way it is. I would say this as well. Adama. And Adama didn't get, I don't think Adama did anything wrong. Adama's Adama, and Adama will do Adama things. But he was more of a threat. He was more of a presence up there. But we need to be better than that, I'm afraid. Let me take some comments. Cape Town Iron says, Nicky, you were the only one with the sense to talk about our relegation battle being accumulating points and holding our nerve. 8 points from the next 6 games when we play Leeds on 37 points. A chance. Absolutely. But we need to perform better than that. It's not about the result. If we'd have lost that game yesterday, but we'd have put in a good performance, I'd say, right, we go again. But there were some worrying signs there. Gary Wolsey says, the trouble is, Nicky, the longer this goes on, the players will lose faith at all the opportunities we've had to climb out the bottom. Listen, I don't think it's about the opportunities to climb out. But as I said before, it's not about climbing out the bottom 3 and straight away. Like, it's not going to happen because of, we've put ourselves in a terrible position. At one point, we was like 7 points behind getting out of it before we'd even given our chance. We're a point behind right now, and another 3 behind Forest. It's not over by a long shot. But what you've got to do, and you shouldn't look at it as missed opportunities. Listen, 3 or 4 weeks ago, we would never have dreamed in a million years that we'd go to Villa and get any points. It's just the way we are, and people are panicking straight away. It's not nice. It's not nice to see, and this is what a relegation battle is. It's a game of nerves, and you've got to be able to get into games and hold your nerves. Listen, we didn't have a chance yesterday. We never looked like scoring. We never looked like winning. But there's games now coming up where we have to take that opportunity. We have to. Wolves. We missed that opportunity last time. We can't miss it again. Brentford, even. Brentford are a good side away, but there's an opportunity there. We've already shown we can, we can at least play them without our better players, and and we come out with a result. Yes, it wasn't a win, but I do believe we can beat them. Everton at home, we have to hold our nerve. Leeds at home, that's going to be a fucking nervy game. We have to hold our nerve. We cannot go into these games performing like we did in December and we did yesterday. But yeah, somebody said there, I hope that the Finns squad doesn't give confidence, especially as our forwards don't consistently score in some cases, never have. Yeah. Forest have got Europe. Yes, they have got Europe. But yeah, it's a bit of a, I come out there with the arsehole yesterday about the performance, not about the result, but the performance. But we're down to the nitty gritty now, and we have to be better. But I'm sure we will. And I'm sure there's a long way to go yet. But there we go. Thank you very much for joining me on this edition of the morning after the game before. As I said before, OK jerseys are up there. You can get your £15 football shirts. And we'll be going to check out the fan cams if you haven't already. We'll be back later on with post-match pint, where we're going to really deconstruct what we saw yesterday at Villa Park. But there we go. One thing left to say. Come on, you ones.